Well, you know the rest of that story. How we went into the cave entrance and found that it was shaped something like the inside of the mouth of a large catfish. You maybe remember that one dark night we saw a ghost or something there. There was a rock that was a hidden door, and when it was moved, we'd seen a black opening into the hill, which looked as if maybe it didn't have any end at all. That cave turned out to be a very long one. We all went inside and... Oh, but that's another story, which I've already written, and I want to tell you now about what happened when all of us, including Jeep, the picayune, went inside. Pretty soon we were beside the base of the sycamore tree, not far from the famous Sugar Creek swamp, looking at a big canvas curtain hanging in front of the cave's entrance. "Looks like somebody's been here," Dragonfly said to me. Somebody had, for there was an envelope pinned onto the curtain. Everybody stopped, and Big Jim, being the leader of our gang, was delegated to see what the envelope had in it. He stood there with all our eyes fastened on him and unpinned the envelope, which had written on the outside, "To the Sugar Creek Gang." "Go ahead and read it," Circus's dad said. Big Jim opened the envelope, and with me holding a flashlight for him so he could see, he read. While he was reading, I noticed that the downy fuzz was on his upper lip again. I remember he'd just shaved it off less than 2 months before. "Read it out loud," Dan Brown said. And Big Jim did. His half-man's voice read, "Members of the Sugar Creek Gang, attention. A special sassafras tea party has been planned for you tonight at the Nest. Come in the back way." When I looked over Big Jim's elbow, I noticed that the note was written in Old Man Paddler's trembly handwriting, and he had signed his name, Senneth Paddler. "Whoopee!" Poetry cried. He was always hungry and always in for a good time. But we all felt the same way. We could hardly wait till we got inside that cave and were on our way along its narrow passageway up to Old Man Paddler's cabin. We had our lanterns and flashlights, which would make it easy for us to see. In a jiffy, we were inside the catfish-shaped mouth and looking through the hole where the big stone used to be. The inside of the cave was lined with rock as far back as we could see. We started moving along Indian style, one at a time. The passage was too narrow most of the way for 2 of us to walk beside each other. Poetry, all by himself, had a hard time getting through one narrow place. The dogs were following along behind. They had strange expressions on their faces, as if they didn't know what in the world was happening and were going to follow us to see if it was safe. Jeep was acting sort of scared. Maybe he'd never been in a cave before in all his dog life. I noticed that each dog wore a leather collar with a brass plate with County Dog License printed on it and also a number. Nobody in Sugar Creek County could keep a dog without a license. If any dog was found running loose without a license, it could be picked up by an officer and put into a dog jail, which is called a dog pound. And unless somebody came and claimed it and paid for a license for it, that would be the end of that dog. Well, we were walking along. Gravel and sand covered the solid rock floor. Now and then we had to stoop to get under a low place. Once we had to squeeze through a very narrow place between 2 rocks that jutted out. All this time, though, in spite of the surprise, I kept remembering that I was supposed to stay at Old Man Paddler's cabin when we got there. I had to be there by 11 o'clock, whether the night of hunting was over or not. But it wasn't anywhere near 11 yet, so I joined in and had a good time. Picayune Jeep stayed so close to Dragonfly, as though he was afraid, that it reminded Poetry of a poem by Robert Louis Stevenson. He quoted it. "I have a little shadow that goes in and out with me, and what can be the use of him is more than I can see. He is very, very like me from my heels up to my head, and I see him jump before me as I jump into my bed." Then Poetry, in a mischievous mood, started all over again and said, so that Dragonfly could hear him, "I have a little picayune that goes in and out with me, and what can be the use of him is more than I can see. He's very, very like me from my heels up to my head." And that was the end of the poem, on account of Dragonfly and Poetry's getting into a scuffle. Well, we kept walking along, everybody feeling fine, until pretty soon we came to a heavy wooden door. Big Jim knocked while the rest of us waited. None of us were scared, because we'd been there before. I was thinking of that kind old man who liked kids so well and knew how to make 'em happy and how to make 'em better.